For the latest film interviews, reviews, and everything making news in pop culture, subscribe to Film Companion now.
Hello and welcome to Film Companion. We are starting a series where we are going to be defending a film that probably no one liked except the person sitting in front of you and talking to you. And I'm going to be defending the Shah Rukh Khan Anand L. Rai film Zero, which is one of my all-time favorite films. Now, in any film, there is always one little bit that gives you, it's like a key, to open the lock to the film. It's like tells you what it is about. What is this film about? What is its genre? If not genre, then at least what is the attitude of the film? What is the feel of the tonality of the film? And that key here to this movie comes to me at least from this line by the Anushka Sharma character. She says, "इतना सब कुछ कमाल था मेरी छोटी सी कहानी में, एकदम सपनों की तरह."
इतना कुछ कमाल था मेरी छोटी सी कहानी में, एकदम सपनों की तरह.
This is not a real movie, it is a fantasy. There's surrealism, there is absurdity, absurdism. In short, this is a tall story about a short man. Now, a lot of the things in this movie are familiar to us from other films as well. For example, there is a love triangle in this movie. For example, in other movies, we have seen an airport climax where one person is rushing to the airport as the other person is taking off. Here we have a space station climax. But unlike those other love stories where it's all about beauty and perfection and all these things, this is a film about imperfection. It is a film about ugliness, and that is what attracts it to me so much. Now, I'm going to be using words like ugly and handicapped. These are not politically correct words, but the film itself can only be described using these harsh words because the movie itself is extremely unapologetic about how ugly it is. To put it differently, everyone is damaged or abnormal in some way. For example, take the Shah Rukh Khan character. He is the lead, but he is a dwarf, and so he's physically like abnormal. He's also mentally very, very ugly because he has a super entitled personality. He's cocky, he's terrible, he's the most obnoxious person you've seen in a long time.
अरे भगवा सिंह चाहे लाख अनपढ़ से ही पर खाते अपने बाप के हैं या सरकार की किसी के मोहताज नहीं है, समझे?
Now take the character played by Anushka Sharma. She again is a person who is handicapped. She has cerebral palsy. She's in a wheelchair. She cannot talk properly. And she is the person who is working at a space station. Now this itself is another instance of a fantasy or an absurdism because you're not talking about whether such a thing can really happen, but in the world of this movie, such a thing has happened. Therefore, in a real movie where you'd be asking questions is like, would such a highly qualified person like Anushka Sharma fall for such a lowly qualified person like Shah Rukh Khan? Here that question doesn't even arise because the film's tonality is that way. Plus, she really likes the fact that he is the first person in her life who does not treat her with kid gloves. He is obnoxious to her as well. There is a fantastic scene where he throws a pen on the ground and she has to pick it up, and everyone else in the room, they're kind of like, oh my god, this poor thing, she's amazing, she's like climbed out of a wheelchair, she's crawling on the ground, she's going to pick up the pen. Shah Rukh is the only one who comes and give this cocky grin. He's like, wow, she did it, man, she did it. And that's like, you cannot believe the entitlement right there, that on his face. And that right there is what makes them bond, because he did something ugly to her and she is kind of saying, I'm glad someone finally is doing something ugly to me, because throughout my life, other than this thing that I was born with, everybody has been super nice to me or super caring or super concerned or super sensitive to me. Here's finally a guy who is treating me like a normal person, the way he would treat any other person. As for the third character played by Katrina Kaif, she has been damaged by the man she loves. So she's also abnormal in a way because she's no longer functioning normally. She's drinking a lot, she's doing all these weird things like kissing Shah Rukh Khan in mirror and then saying that, you go and tell people that I kissed you, I, the superstar, kissed you. No one's going to believe you. Now, despite this imperfection in Shah Rukh Khan, there is a certain honesty in his character. And when he is being honest to himself, when he's being himself, as the way he's being with Anushka Sharma, he is able to do this fantastic thing. He is able to swipe his hand like we swipe our hand against a tablet and move stars. But when he leaves her and when he loses his honesty and he tries to show off this power in front of other people, he loses his power. He cannot move the stars anymore. And this brings him to the realization that what he's been after, that is the Katrina Kaif character, is just an illusion and he needs to get back to the Anushka Sharma character. The film is such an out-of-the-box experience. It is such an out-of-the-box love story that scene after scene keeps amazing you with how strange and wonderful they are. For example, there is this marvelous scene where there is this anti-gravity moment that happens where Anushka Sharma and Shah Rukh Khan are at the same level because there's no gravity anymore. While in this anti-gravity situation, she tells him how things are and she returns perfectly to his chair, whereas he just drops down right there to the floor. He's been shown what his place is in the place of things. Another all-time favorite scene of mine is the one where Shah Rukh Khan wants to be humiliated the same way he humiliated the Anushka Sharma character. So he makes Katrina humiliate him, and Katrina is just spectacular in the scene, as is Shah Rukh.
तेरी औकात जीरो, वो व्हीलचेयर पे बैठी तेरी लड़की जीरो, तुम सब मिलके भी कुछ नहीं बना सकते, तुमसे मिलकर भी बनेगा एक बहुत बड़ा जीरो.
Now, after Katrina kicks him out, or rather, after she kicks him out, knowing that he wants her to kick him out, we return to another staple of Hindi cinema in which we have this whole atonement angle. I did something wrong to you, now I have to prove my love to you by atoning for the wrong that I did. And this is also presented in an extremely out-of-the-box manner by making him go to Mars. Now, whether all this is real, whether all this is really happening, whether he's really going to Mars, all this is irrelevant because all of this is basically a metaphor for the fact that he wants to prove to her that he now is serious about her. I think in the future, Zero will be one of the most studied films of Shah Rukh Khan because it is so filled with meta references to the actor and to his dimples and to his films and to his heroines.
डिंपल दिखा के बेवकूफ बनाने का फॉर्मूला शुरू.
In fact, that scene that I told you about a little earlier where he fails to move the stars, it is filled with every single heroine that he's worked with, whether it is Sridevi in Army or Alia in Dear Zindagi. The film is filled with wonderful music, wonderful set pieces, really, really wonderful performances. Even Anushka's, the first time I saw her, I was like a little thrown off because like it seemed a little showy and inconsistent. But in future viewings, it doesn't bother me anymore. She seemed to be part of the whole thing. It just like it didn't stick out as badly as it did the first time I saw it. But apart from the actors, the film really belongs to Anand Rai and his writer Himanshu Sharma. Now Anand Rai has a thing for jagged love triangles, and here also we have a jagged love triangle. But what happens in Zero is that the absurdism cancels out the rocky patches that were part of his earlier films. What he does is he makes us take a huge leap of faith in the name of love. And that imperfection that surrounds it, the fact that love is not just for perfect people but also for terribly, terribly, terribly imperfect people, I think that is what endears me to Zero over and over and over again. I also love the title Zero because it's nothing. Nothing is perfect.